The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this Earnestly podcast. I'm your host, Ernest. EJ Christian, coming to you still quarantine lockdown here in South Florida. On the line, making her second appearance on this podcast. And this show has obviously lasted 9 years, but only your second appearance on the podcast, my friend, old-time friend of 2 decades now, Jenny Winings. Jenny, what's up?
Oof. That made me feel really old right this second.
How do you think I feel? I'm turning 40 in 2 weeks.
I know, but it's crazy that it's been 20 years, but I'm good.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good. I mean, as good as you're going to be, really, the situation.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, we met. Okay, so we met, I believe, in August of 2001. Yeah. Right?
I don't know. I mean, when we met, you mean like in the chat room?
Might have been one of the MJ chat rooms back in the day. I think before did I meet you before the concert or after the concert? After the
No, we met, I think, at MSG that weekend.
In person, right? But I first met you online back in, I think, August, around that time, leading up to the concert.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that, but yeah.
Like we were already friends before we actually met. In other words,
right.
But that was before the concert. Because I remember that whole time. I mean, the whole weekend. I mean, you. It's so crazy because we've actually discussed it in this podcast before. We had an episode we did 5 years ago, actually, back in 2015. And your experience, and people forget, a lot of people don't know this, but Michael Jackson's last concert he ever did before he passed away in 2001 was literally the weekend before 9/11, and he had two shows on the 7th of September and then the 10th. And I went to the first one, came back home. You went to the first one, came home, and flew back out again for the last show. And then you were
the next day.
Right, and you were probably the last flight out of New York that morning before 9/11 happened.
Back to Cincinnati, yes.
Back to Cincy. So that was some bittersweet times, to be honest with you.
It was.
And now 20 years later, we're still friends. So it's kind of amazing how that really worked out, So. Yeah,
and I have so many friends still that. I met through being a Michael fan for so many. I mean, we've all been friends for like 15, 20 years.
It probably sounds weird that people listen to this podcast like, Michael Jackson, how you guys? Well, I mean, people know me. I'm a pretty massive fan. You are as well. But I think that's kind of cool. It's funny, and it's really funny, because my younger brother, I think it was last year. I made a comment about because he was talking about wanting to go to Australia in the next year or so just to travel. And I told him, well, I have friends in Australia too. And I go, really? I go, yeah, I had friends for 20 years because of my, our mutual respect for Michael Jackson. And then we met when I was like, 20 years old, and I've still maintained those friendships. And it was funny. He used to make fun of me way back when that happened. And now he's like, dude, that's really cool, actually. That you actually maintain friendships for that long. Like that, it was just beyond, whatever. It was like you actually maintain these friendships now 20 years later. And I go, yeah. Really?
Yep.
So
I mean, going overseas, at the end of last year, in the beginning of this year, I was able to meet up with
old
friends in London, Amsterdam, Paris.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, how are you doing with the lockdown, the everything with the coronavirus, and how you dealing?
Yeah, I'm actually doing pretty good. I work at a restaurant, so obviously they closed on March 15th, so I've been out of a job since, but getting unemployment and not really spending any money, so, that's good, nowhere to go, and I just basically get up and go over to my boyfriend's house, and we work out together every day on his lunch break, and then I either hang out there or come home and lay in bed for the rest of the day/night.
And that's been pretty much rinse repeat since March 15th?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, we're on locked down till May 1st, and then they said they might start opening things.
Yeah.
But I think for the restaurant, it's going to be
a little longer, probably.
All these restaurants that we've been going to forever are going to look completely different on the inside. I mean, they're going to have to take out so many think about when you're out to dinner and you're sitting at a table, and every table around you has to be 6 feet away. Think of that. Like, they're going to have to take so many tables away, so many bar stools away. I mean, they're only going to need like 4 servers every night. It's going to be,
yeah.
And they're saying like we're going to have to wear masks and gloves, and I think it's just going to be, it's just
very restrictive return to business.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
right. I mean, when I think of my restaurant, if you put a table in the middle and then make a 6-foot diameter around it, that's just crazy to me. How many tables we're removing?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to remove.
And for the record, I think your governor's done a really good job with handling this from the beginning.
Yes, I'm very grateful that our governor, Mike DeWine, has been I'm thankful for the job he's been doing. I mean, we were one of the first states to close everything. So actually, our cases, I just saw it. We have about 4,400, which is really low.
Yeah.
Compared to the higher states, but I think our governor has just been one of the ones that's been a step ahead, pretty much.
Right. I've been trying to avoid the news because I don't, with the media, I just, I can do away with a lot of the media, especially on the extreme sides of all this and the political, ramifications, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I stick around. I stick around just enough to get the information I need possible, whatever I need to know about, And I don't know. Have you been following? At least with Ohio, has there been a flattening of the curve?
Like we're at a flattening. We're not on the downside yet. But we're at a plateau, and I think they said we're going to stay here for a week or 2 or 3,
right.
But they don't expect it to go up anymore, which is good. So. Yeah, I think that's what they said today. I mean, they do. It's funny because our governor's name is Mike DeWine. He comes on every single day at 2 o'clock. Him and then the doctor Acton. And so there's all this merch out now that says "Wine with DeWine." It's 2 o'clock somewhere. And I think I might just buy one because just to I'm living through this. We're all living through this. So I just think in 20 years, if I still have my Wine with DeWine shirt, it'll just be like, wow, remember when we couldn't do anything? We've hit a plateau, but they expect it to last a few weeks.
Yeah.
So, and today Trump said that nothing can open until you have 14 days of decrease in cases.
Right.
So who knows how long that's going to be for each state, but.
Well, they listed my birthday as May 1st. My birthday is the mark of when they're gonna decide whether there's an opening.
Yeah.
The economy, whatever it may be.
Right.
But, yeah. I mean, I feel like that, and maybe because I've sort of removed myself from the day-to-day following the news every day just to be depressed. But maybe it's just me. But I feel like the worst could be over. Like maybe we have another week or 2 of this nationwide, and then maybe we start seeing an evening out, and then by say mid-May, nationwide anyway, a flattening. Because I think even in Florida, and granted, there's still more testing being done now, so I'm wondering if this next wave of testing we get in the next week or 2, and results that come in between now and the end of April, if the numbers are still pretty positive for the most part in terms of not a huge outbreak, if Florida will be the next state that will say, well, let's open business. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, like they said, with the phasing, phase 1, still no more gatherings of 10 or more. Bars will not be open, but restaurants can open, following very strict guidelines. And so I just think I can't even imagine how long it's going to take until everything is reopened,
Right. I saw a thing today. Right. I saw a thing about a couple hours ago before I get my kids to bed about Jacksonville. Now, this is way north of where I'm at. That's literally.
Right.
They're looking to reopen parks and beaches, I think, in the next week or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or at least a slow rollout, but it's still a rollout.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm wondering, and then I saw something else about somewhere a little north of me, like not too far, about like in Port St. Lucie, where they're looking to open ports also in the next week or so. So I'm taking that as, and plus, you know, I've been hearing last 48 hours, you know, that Florida is starting to flatten a little bit now, and depending on the testing,
That's good.
you know, so. You know, you and I work in the same industry for the most part. You know, you work in restaurant. I'm a poker dealer, so we're both working. You know, we're both employees on that kind of nature. So we're in the same boat. And I look, I want to be safe. I want to make sure everything's done the right way. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm itching to get back to work.
Man, you're telling me, like, first when Trump said he wanted to open by Easter, if we opened at Easter, I would have not have went in. I didn't feel like, I mean, obviously it didn't happen because it couldn't have happened, but like and our governor has said, you know, ever since this started, that he's gonna go with the facts and listen to the medical experts and the healthcare providers, and he's gonna listen to them about how and when he's gonna open different parts, which I think is good. Again, I really do like our governor, but I can't imagine, like, I don't want to go back to work until I feel like it's safe enough to go back to work, you know? So I don't think restaurants are going to open on May 1st, but if they did, I don't even know if I feel safe to go back then.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because like, you know, even if you get the clearance to go back to work, let's say even middle of May, let's give it some time, the next 2 weeks, you know, this little bit of the eggshell thing, like, okay, now how do I deal with this? And you know, and
you have to really like reevaluate everything that you have been doing and like completely change it. And I mean, as much as I want my restaurant to be open, like, really, I would love it to be open. I also don't want to go back right now because it's just, everybody's just going to everyone's kind of just be scared, I think. I mean, everyone wants to go out, but it's going to be completely different when you do go out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I can't even imagine how it's going to be. It's just crazy to think about. Really.
I'll tell you, well, another thing too, also for me, you know, it's been a pain in the ass. Now, finally, it got through. I don't know if Ohio's having the same issues as Florida, because Florida's one of the worst states. It was kind of strange because we're one of the biggest states in the country, and yet one of the worst states when it comes to unemployment. Like, unemployment system is dreadful. And only in the last week, they put up a new website, you know, because the old website was just trash. And I got through, actually finally filed 2 days ago, and it went through in 20 minutes without a problem. But, you know, everybody I talked to my job, they've said that they haven't got nothing yet from them. I think only one person got unemployment. Now, my place is employed, you know, 500 employees. So only one person got a single response back or money from the unemployment.
Was that your first time filing?
I think I attempted a few more times, but it was so like annoying. I was like, no, whatever, I'll do it later. I kept putting it off.
Yeah. It's been. So when they announced on the 15th of March that the restaurants were going to close, and then they said because usually, I don't know if you've ever had unemployment before, but after 9/11, when I was working for the airline, I took a leave of absence, so I was able to get unemployment. So usually, you have to wait a week before you even file, and then when you file, you have to, you know, put in that you look for 2 jobs, but you don't have to do any of that, and you could file that day.
Right.
Well, it took me and my friends and I, you couldn't even click from one page to the next on the unemployment. I mean, it was crazy. So I filed 3 weeks in a row, never received anything. And then last Saturday, I finally, after it was 28 days from the first day I filed, I got 3 weeks at once on Saturday, and then Sunday, because you have to file every week. So Sunday I filed for this week, and I got that payment on Monday. So it was like hard to get. It's been hard here, at least I know everywhere, but it's been hard, like between my friends and I, to get the first initial payment. But then after that, the other ones seem to have been going through just fine. But they have said a month ago, or no, not a month ago, I don't know, March 15th, there was only 42 people working in the call center or the unemployment office in Ohio, and now they have 1,100. they've hired that many people to come and work just because. And now you can go online, no issue. You get right through online. Now calling is a completely different story. But the website is up. It's been up. But they've hired 1,100 people almost to come work for the unemployment.
Yeah, I've heard some stories in Florida, and it's probably worse in Florida because the website, people were getting through, and then they got knocked down to the beginning of the page again.
It was terrible.
It was a nightmare. And the page was, our last governor, who's now our senator, which is disgusting in itself because I can't stand the guy, Rick Scott.
Yeah.
The entire setup was disgusting anyway in itself. So that, and then you have this situation now makes it even worse. It's compounded. Thankfully, we got the new website. But it's been, it's funny. I'll be honest with you, like with this whole situation with being home, like I'm not gonna lie to you, there's parts of me that doesn't enjoy this because at least for me personally, in my family with my two kids, my wife, in our schedules, we don't have a day off together. We're always, whoever's home one day, the other's working, and vice versa. And we do that because of, to avoid paying for babysitters and whatnot, that kind of thing. So this is cool for me in a sense. At least the first couple of weeks, it was like, this is great. I get a little time off, not vacation. Let's be real, because it's not vacation for two kids. Right. But being able to slow down and kind of sort of like take care of house projects and be able to reconnect with my family, my kids, all that. But now I'm like, it's like, look, I'm enjoying binging TV and doing what I gotta do, and I don't mind eating once in a while. Although I'm eating a little too much now. I talked around a couple of days ago that my wife that currently the fridge and I are in an open relationship right now. So, but but I'm ready to go back to work, and I think the one thing, my saving grace right now for me not losing all my shit is we have these like semi-daily drives we do on the beach. We live like 10 minutes from the beach, if that. Yeah. And so we do like 1 hour drive. It's like up and down the county with the kids. Sometimes somebody else will sleep and whatever. So that's been our saving grace, the drives out and whatnot. But I do miss the normal. I do miss seeing my parents and that nature. But I will say this much: the Zoom, having the Zoom conversations with my family, my siblings, my cousins, it's been pretty cool. I will say that.
Zoom, man, who even heard of Zoom before middle March? I had.
Well, I did, but I tried to use them for this podcast like back in 2011, but I did it for like maybe 2 times, but I never kept it. I just like, okay, cool, I have it, and then I never used it.
Well, yeah, I guess if you have a podcast or something, but like the majority of the people never even knew what this was, and now it's the most popular thing out there.
Well, but even 9 years ago, though, the platform was still very, very basic and beta. Like it wasn't that that good. Even when I tried to use it, wasn't that good.
I'm sure that long ago. Yeah, I'm sure.
So how are you? How do you deal with? I've had anxiety with this whole situation. How have you dealt with it? I mean, do you go for long drives and stuff?
No, it's been really nice. So my boyfriend's been working from home since March 16th.
Okay.
So I've literally gone over there every day and we work out. So it's been really nice to just do that together.
That helps.
Because usually he works like a 9 to 5 and I work at night. So we see each other on the weekends, but we've never really worked out together because he works out either at 6 a.m., or at night. And I work out every day at noon. So it's been nice to do that. And then if I just hang out there, I don't even watch the news. It kind of we'll go for we go to the park right next to his house and it's a 3-mile walk we do with the dog. So, I haven't really had anxiety or stress about it. Which thank goodness, because I know people that have, but I just kind of just work out and just, I don't know.
Well, the workout's going to help a lot. If you get a clue, a little bit of anxiety, working out is definitely going to even it out pretty quickly. I mean,
yeah, and it's been nice still to go outside and go on walks. The weather here this week is stupid, but last week we had some good days, so it is nice to go out and walk. I
did see the video you posted. I think was it over the weekend when there was like a major storm coming?
It was last week, like Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, that was scary as shit.
That was crazy.
Like a horror movie.
And that was so we had 10 minutes of just straight lightning, really no thunder and no rain, and then we had a little gap, and then it was just it's on actually. That's really funny. literally on my news right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's saying how many tornadoes were confirmed, and it was 14, and now it's 19.
On that night?
Tornadoes were confirmed on that night. 3 F1s and 16 F0s. So, I mean, obviously nothing crazy, but lots of wind damage, lots of, like, trees blown over, and, I mean, it was a lot.
But no fatalities, and no touchdowns, really, right? No major touchdowns?
No fatalities,
Thank
yeah,
God.
and none in the county I live in. But, I mean, that's how, like, the sirens went off, kept going off. It was crazy. My sister and I were outside until the sirens went off, and I was like, let's go in.
So you haven't seen your parents during the last month?
Yeah, we live literally one street away from my parents, so my mom actually just left our house. So we've seen my mom and my dad and my boyfriend. That's it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
So
I'm not gonna lie. I've seen my mom. I've seen my mother-in-law, but they've also adhered to the quarantine rules also too. So
right, exactly,
because of that,
and that's why that's
right.
the only people you can see.
Right. So
because you know who they're seeing, they know who you're seeing.
Right, exactly, and that's the reason why we've done it. Like my mother-in-law has been home all the time, and what we do sometimes to take pressure off of us a little bit, we'll send our oldest son to her for a day to spend time with her, give her some company.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
But again, we know that she's okay, and my kids haven't been out of the house. You know, the only time they've been out of the house is for drives. That's it. And they're in the car with us.
Yeah.
And then my mom, we saw my mom I think last weekend. Just you know, and she's been home all the time also too. So it's not a big deal. It's tough
right.
though, because I want to see my friends and my dad too. You know, but he's
it's crazy to think I haven't seen any of my friends in person in 6 weeks.
Isn't that crazy? Think about that.
It is. I mean, we've done Zoom, we've done Snapchat video, but like, it's just.
You still have Snapchat?
It's crazy.
You still have Snapchat?
Yeah,
wow.
my friends and I have a group Snapchat that we are in.
Snapchat's still a
so
thing.
we always just
I'm surprised it's still a
chat
thing.
in there because on the group Snapchats the conversations don't go away, so we can just stay in there and talk to each other in there.
Yeah, I'm surprised Snapchat's still a thing. That's why apparently my wife still uses it too. I'm like, babe, you still have Snapchat? That's crazy.
I don't use it much. I usually just use it to talk to them because there's 5 of us girls in a group. But it's just not to see anyone. Now the executive chef at my restaurant, or one of 2 of there are 2 regional chefs for our whole company. One of them is basically a chef at our restaurant, and he's employees the past 3 weeks. So one day a week they'll send a text and say, you can come in the parking lot, and he's just there in his car, and he just brings the food over. So that's been really, really nice.
Right. Okay.
But,
so I want to talk about the Square One documentary on Michael Jackson. That that was really cool to find out you were a part of that. People don't know about this documentary.
Yeah.
Has it got a lot of mainstream press in here in the States? Got a lot more mainstream press in Europe, in China, based parts of Asia and whatnot.
China for sure.
For sure, China. I know India got some of that press too. And this is basically, I'm not going to say it's a rebuttal to Leaving Neverland, because it's not a rebuttal towards those accusations, because it's actually focused on two separate situations. But it is a rebuttal in some of the narratives around Michael and the alleged pedophilia, whatever they I'll say again, I don't believe it happened. And I'm not saying this because I'm a big fan of the guy. I didn't, it's because listen, I've studied this stuff, I researched this stuff, and it doesn't bear out. I'm sorry, it doesn't bear out.
Right.
But it was really cool, and when you were on the podcast last time in 2015. You explained, you've met Michael quite a few times. And I know this for a fact because we've been friends for a long time. You've met Michael. You've been at Neverland many times. You were actually, around the accuser, Gavin Arvizo, who was, obviously the accuser that he went to trial for in 2005. You actually had contact. You were on the witness list to testify if need be. Which by the way, people who doubt that, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been friends with Jenny, and I know this because we've been friends a long time, and
I have proof. I have the witness.
Yeah, exactly. You post on social media too. But it was a little surprising because when I first heard about Square One, I thought it was focused on the Gavin Arvizo, going back to the beginning. Focus on Jordan Chandler rather, and go back to the beginning of the first accusations, but. you were part of that also too, which is actually really cool to kind of sort of give it some, more nuance. How was that experience? First of all, how did Danny Wu, the director, contact you?
So I didn't even know who Danny was until I think July of last year. He wrote me. So, you know me, I've been telling the same story about my time at Neverland with Gavin and Michael since 2003. But
Yes.
I've never needed a reason to go public because it never mattered before. So then Leaving Neverland came out at the beginning of March last year in 2019. And I randomly one day was like, Jenny, maybe post your, story on Twitter just to say what happened when you were at Neverland, Gavin was there. So I just did that. And then Taj, Michael's nephew, got a hold of me, or everybody was like, you need to get in touch with Taj because he's making a documentary. So he contacted me, and then that was in March. And then in July, I get a message from a guy named Danny Wu. And I was like, I have no idea who this is. And he was like, hey, I'm making a documentary. And, I interviewed Taj and Brandy if you want to check it out on YouTube. So
Brandy being, of course, Michael's niece.
Oh, yeah. Jackie's daughter, Michael's niece. So because I was a Michael fan, you don't want to talk to just anybody because they totally twist your words around and they'll make you look completely different than how you're meaning, how you want your story to come across. So I watched the YouTube video with him interviewing Taj Jackson and Brandy Jackson, and that's when I was like, okay, well, if he interviewed them, then this is fine. So I ended up doing. Now, so we met in July. He probably interviewed me in the end of July, beginning of August, and this came out. We had the premiere in LA in September.
Right.
So it was 3 months or less that it was out. So I didn't fly. He lives in Canada. I didn't fly to Canada. We actually FaceTimed so he could get basically what Square One is about is the 1993 case because that's Square One. That's where all this started. The reason that he had myself and my friend Caroline in it was because he wanted just to say, the timeline, it's just all a mess. It's just crazy. So the timeline for the 2005 trial, I can dispute a date, and I have friends that can dispute other dates where, Gavin and his family said Michael was at Neverland with them, but really my friends were at Neverland with Gavin and Michael was in Miami, which is exactly where I was. So, the days that my friends were at Neverland with Gavin, and I was in Miami with Michael, and you know that because we were staying at your house.
Because you stayed at my house. You stayed at my house when Michael made a lot of trips to Miami, especially around that area, around that time. In fact, we watched the Bashir documentary together, you and I, at my house. Yeah. And Michael was still in town.
So it was just crazy. So Danny contacted me and we did, the interview over the phone. And I really didn't know, when he was first, he's young. He's just turned 24. So he was 23. And I'm like, who is this guy? Well, I'll talk to him, whatever. And, I finally realized, so he had Taj in it and Geraldine Hughes, who was the secretary for the lawyer of the boy that accused him the first time and his family.
Right. Was it Barry Rothman? Yes, it was Barry Rothman.
And then he had interviewed this girl, Josie, that you've known, who went to college with the first accuser, Dory Chandler. So anyway, it finally, I was like, okay, so this is going to be legit when the trailer came out. Because I was like, well, this is really cool. So then he was like, okay, well, we're going to do a premiere in LA at the end of September at the Man's Chinese Theater.
Right.
And I was like, what?
It was crazy about the whole thing, though. When I saw the trailer for it before the screening, whatever, it was shocking because, and you mentioned Josie, because I've been friends with her around the same time as you, friends with you, but she never told me that she was actually a part of this project. And when I saw the trailer, I was stunned because, to be honest with you, if you look at this entire documentary, it's really centered around her. In some ways, because the Chandler accusations is the ones that seem to be the ones that there's holes in that.
Everything.
There's holes in that, but there are not enough holes for people to kind of sort of understand the situation. I've known Josie since 2001, 2, around that time. She told me herself that she went to NYU with Jordan Chandler. At the time, she told me that.
See, and it's funny because people think we're making stuff up. And
no, you're not.
You just haven't known me for 20 years.
I was telling people back in 2003, because she didn't tell me to not say anything. She just said that, Jordan Channel goes to my school. And by the way, it makes sense. Jordan Channel and I are the same age. So it makes sense. So there's no lying here. She was a freshman at NYU at the time. And she told me that. I'm like, and I'll tell people that, by the way, my friend actually goes to school with the first accuser, and he's...
Look, you're like this. You're like, my friend went to school with the first accuser, and my other friend was at Neverland with the second accuser.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to think about it,
funny.
Though. But it is what it is. But, when I saw her on the trailer, because the way the trailer was brought up, it has you and a couple other people, principal players in it, Taj and all that. Yeah. And then, boom, at the end is Josie. I'm like, holy crap. I remember texting her. I was like, holy, Josie, you're really a part of this documentary? I was stunned. So, and...
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. I mean, if you guys, whoever's listening to this, if you haven't seen it, go look up Square One.
It's on YouTube.
Documentary on Michael Jackson, because it's the first time that I think pretty much you can watch this and everything that you have known about the 93 case is all in one spot now, and that's really nice because, sometimes people ask you so much stuff and you forget things and, you don't remember things till later, but now I just say, go watch Square One. Because there's an updated version that we saw in Amsterdam in January that when it comes out to a bigger platform, hopefully very soon, it's going to be that version. And it's even better. He added stuff in there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I hope it comes out soon. I don't know what platform it's going to be on, but I hope it comes out because, he added even more stuff that you just, like for me, I've seen Square One maybe 6-7 times, and at the end I just get so mad because they're talking about Wade and James Chafechuk and stuff. But like the stuff he added since then, it makes me even more mad because it's like,
it's powerful. I've shown friends of mine who may have been on the fence about Michael's innocence or guilt in the situation, and when I show them this, because I guess the thing is, 93 is the one that seems to be the hardest of the allegations to kind of sort of like put to bed.
Because of the quote payout.
But there's so much more that people don't know politically, about how the civil suit works and how that used to be back in the day, where you can sue.
How the law specifically was changed after that case because it was unfair.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I've shown people that the documentary since then, people on the fence, and they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but what's cool, like you were doing a lot of traveling because we had releases in Amsterdam, we had releases in England, right? England was one too, I think, also.
Yeah, I was in the first one. Well, so it premiered in LA. September 28th, but it didn't go online until October 5th, which was the day we premiered it in London. So we were in LA one weekend, and the weekend we were in LA, there were no plans to go to London. I flew back Sunday, and on Monday, Danny was like, do you want to go to London this weekend for a premiere? And I was like, what? So anyways, that weekend,
this is basically Jenny back at 21 years old, following Michael around the globe again.
It was so, and that's how I felt. I'm like, just at the drop of a hat, I'm flying to London. Okay.
But why was that? I know, but why was that important for you to still do this? You didn't have to do this. This is obviously out of your expense to fly to X countries to do this. You're not Michael's not with us anymore, so you can obviously just say, well, I did my part. I'm part of this. I'm in there, and that's it. Why do you feel necessary for you to do the extra mile and go to these I guess to travel to defend his name? What made you want to do that still?
Well, there was there's question and answers. There was one after the London premiere and one after Amsterdam. So it's nice to have people ask questions and be able to answer and talk to people. Like, so we had a question and answer, and then after in Amsterdam, we had a whole meet and greet. So even then, a lot of people were coming up and asking more questions that they weren't able to ask in the Q&A after. But also just I don't know. I just feel like I've been supporting him for so long. Like, if I can do it, just do it.
Does it get tiring though? Does it get tiring?
So last year, I had a Twitter account like in 2011. I signed up and I literally was never on it until Leaving Neverland came out. And for God, for months, I was on there so much just trying to defend him. I was having nightmares when I was sleeping. It got to be so much. So I've backed off Twitter a lot. And actually this past few months, I have probably since I got back from Europe at the end of January, I haven't even been on Twitter because it's just a headache.
You're not missing much. Okay.
It's just a headache. So yeah, last year it was tiring just trying to so then my local news after leaving Neverland came out, had something on Michael Jackson, whatever, and I just put hey, Channel 5, if you ever want to talk to me, I was there, this, whatever. And all these people were like, you just want your 15 minutes of fame? Why haven't you ever talked before? And I was like, okay, instead of saying that, why don't you ask me if I've talked to them before? Because
you did
they interviewed me 5 times after Michael died. I was on our Channel 5 News 5 times, but nobody, people just, I don't even argue with people online because there's no point online. So I just let them talk, and I'm like, okay. But it was tiring. It was mentally tiring. But I tell you,
you were on national
being able to go to
after you got arrested.
Yeah, in November of 2003.
Yeah. Hello.
No.
Just Google it.
But people don't ask me that. People just say, why haven't you done this? They don't say, have you done this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, just to be able to go to London, and then the week I came back, I was sitting on the couch and I got a text, and I was like, oh my God. And I looked at my boyfriend, I said, read this. And it was Taj Jackson inviting me to the Jackson family Halloween party. So I flew back to LA at the end of October for that. And then, I flew to Amsterdam in January for the premiere there and stayed there 5 days, and then went to Paris by myself for a whole week. And so,
that was fun though.
Yeah.
Made a little trip out of that, it was kind of cool.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Are there any plans to? I mean, obviously, you said they added some stuff to the to the documentary recently. Are there any other plans to do more promotions in the next few months? Obviously, once the thing's over, I'm sure.
Right. See, that's the thing. So when we were in Amsterdam, Danny and I and Taj did a podcast together. That there's just been so the day that we all left Amsterdam, I took a train to Paris. Danny flew to China because he was going to be there for the Chinese New Year for the first time because that's where he's from. And literally 3 days later, they went into quarantine. So he's been stuck in China since January 20th. And
he's still there now?
He's still there now. I mean, he has family there, so he's been with his family, but he was planning to be there for 2 weeks. But, so when we were in Amsterdam, we were in the hotel room thinking oh, where else can we go? And then, boom, he was stuck. And now we're all stuck, so there's no plans right now. I mean,
but there were plans. There were plans to do more prior to this.
Oh, there wasn't. I mean, we didn't have plans. If people wanted us to come and do it, we would. But we didn't have anything planned after Amsterdam.
Right.
And then he went straight from Amsterdam to China, and then boom, he couldn't leave. So
he's not like anybody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he's in the I don't want to say worst part, but he's in the, I want to say scene of the crime, but that's where everything started pretty much. I mean, if you believe everything that's been said. Yeah,
I mean, he's not in Wuhan, but where he's been has still been on quarantine. They've just been able to go out last week, I think.
Right. Have you,
in the last 10 days, so.
Have you spoken to Danny since been in China? In terms of well, I know you you did an IG with him, I know, recently. IG
yeah,
Live.
I mean, I haven't talked to him in a few days, but we usually talk every single day. We just text. Because he was texting me, when this was all happening in China at the end of January, he was texting me all about it before it ever even was a blip on the radar here. And I was just remember thinking oh my gosh, that's terrible. I can't imagine that happening. Now fast forward to now, so yeah, him and I talk all the time.
Yeah. Are things improving in China now? I mean, where are they at right now in terms of the?
Yeah, I think they just hit it where they haven't had any new cases for. They're all out. I think they're all out of lockdown. They're all out of quarantine. I think maybe I don't know if all of China is. I know Wuhan is.
So
I don't know. But
if he wanted to fly back to he's from Canada, right? He lives in Canada, right? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, but Canada is not taking flights in. So
right, so that's the problem now. So it's not so much him leaving, so it's him entering other countries. Okay, that makes sense.
I think so. I mean.
No, that sounds about right, though. I think their Prime Minister Trudeau shut down borders too. So.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So it's been a crazy few months, for sure,
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
And it's still going to be a crazy few months.
Yeah.
But anyway, Square One was awesome, and Taj Jackson is amazing. He reminded me so much of Michael. It's nuts. Like, the way he acts, the way he talks, his demeanor. He's so sweet.
I don't think people understand also, fans or no fans of the Jackson family, I don't think people understand what he's doing, how big this is for him. He doesn't have to do this. I mean, people say, "Oh,
he doesn't have to do it," especially since he just had a baby like 3 months before Leaving Neverland came out.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not getting anything from the estate for this. They're not gonna.
No.
He's not on the payroll for the estate. Like, Michael's will is to Catherine, the 3 kids, and Charity. That's it. None of the Jacksons are making money off of this.
Yep.
He's doing this out of his own volition because he wants to defend his uncle's name.
Yeah.
But it kind of also shows, though, for him and Brandy to upend their lives like this, kind of shows you the impact that Michael had on them beyond Michael Jackson, the performer. It kind of shows how important Michael is to them as an uncle. Because they don't have to do this crap.
No, but like imagine being Brandy and like finding out about this,
Yeah, one of the things in documentary.
I can't imagine what she thought when she found out. Well, first of all, when he came out in 2013, Wade, and said this happened or whatever. But like when Leaving Neverland came out, she was probably like, "F this, like that did not happen. This is why I know for sure." Like how, like she's probably like, "How are you going to do that to my uncle?" I can't imagine being her. Like, really.
In the real world, he probably got insulted. Let's be real. Because I think either Taj or Brandy had said at one point that before the documentary even came out or around the time they had seen, if not Wade, I think they saw Wade's sister Chantel, because a lot of these people have mutual friends too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think Taj had said he saw Chantel at a party around Christmas of last year, not this past year, but 2018. And he basically, she just kind of looked away, whatever, looked kind of embarrassed in a sense too. Kind of shows you how much this whole thing is really. And again, this is not just fans coming out saying these things. There's factual information to back this up. A lot of receipts, man.
Yeah.
It's actually quite astonishing though, because the one of the 2 guys that really worried me was Safechuck, because he was very quiet through this whole thing, and yet he's the one that pretty much they cracked easiest of the 2 guys between Wade and Jimmy. That they cracked him pretty quickly about the timeline issues.
Yeah.
Kind of stunning actually. Think about it.
I'll be the first to say I haven't seen Leaving Neverland all the way through. I know. I mean, but you've seen bits and pieces. You've heard what it's all about. I mean, like the day after this came out, people were finding inconsistencies. Even the night it came out. Do you remember the night it came out? Wade put his fundraiser up, and the minimum was like, wasn't it the minimum of $500 donation? What was it?
Somewhere, it was either $250 or $500. One of the two.
$250. It was $250.
Right.
And he put it up. Oh my gosh, it's just so, it makes my brain hurt, because it's like, people can watch a documentary, quote, documentary for 4 hours, but they won't watch an hour and 18-minute long documentary just showing. It's not, and like Danny always says, he doesn't want to shove it down someone's throat. Like, look, he's innocent. He just put these facts together from the other side that never gets talked about.
Yeah.
And he wants people to just watch it and come to their own conclusion. Like, I don't want people to come away. I want people to come away and really be like, oh shit, like, okay, I didn't know any of that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, just really get them thinking.
Yeah.
And I personally have changed a lot of people's minds that I've met the past 20 years, but
I think your experience actually makes it easier to people believe it. The fact that you actually met Michael, spent time there, was on a witness list, you have a lot of receipts to support. It helps.
Well, and that's literally the only reason that my story has been out, more than my friends who have tons of meetings with Michael and shoppings and everything, is just because I was at Neverland with Gavin the last 2 days who was supposedly being abused. That is the reason why, like, my friends and my story that was there were so important, just because of the timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
But, you know, it's one of those things where every couple of years we have this thing that pops up. You're like, oh my God, again. Here we go.
I know. Like,
I do think, though, the general public is tired of hearing about it, though. Whether or not they agree or believe him, he is innocent or not, I do think there is a lot of
I'm sure.
tiredness. And
people have been hearing about this crap since 20 or 93, like 28 years, 27 years.
This might be the last major thing you get on this subject now with him, because
I hope so, because you know what? Like, 27 years of this, he never went to jail. Like, I could bring up other celebrities who are in jail right now that have been in jail before that continue to stay in jail for, you know, like, because there's proof, there's all this stuff. Michael never had anything on that, and people are still held up. Like,
it's easy to assume so because of the way he looked and his behavior and all that, but you know, again,
because he wasn't, quote, normal, quote. Yeah. Like, who the hell is normal?
Well, he wasn't normal. I mean, again, but his normal is, no one has that kind of lifestyle.
But what is even normal? What is normal? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
It's just crazy, and that man was put through hell.
I think I remember telling you the day he died. 'Cause I remember when he was in the hospital, 11 years ago, fighting for his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I remember telling you, I think either the same day, because I remember you were contacting me, whatever, that, you know, after he passed away, I felt some relief when he passed away, because knowing what you and I and people who were following him, especially in his later years, and knowing what we knew, you know, the only people I felt sorry for when he passed away was his kids. Everybody else could go fuck themselves, honestly.
Oh yeah, and
family included, by the way, for the record.
Thinking about him doing 50 concerts, I knew there was no physical way that he could ever have done that. So, like, that was going to be crazy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's all crazy, the whole thing. But, you know, it's funny. Like, again, you know, people ask, has this hurt his image? Look, it's probably. I'm sure he's lost fans, obviously, post leaving Neverland. He's also gained fans back too, because there are people. One of the things, and I you know, said many times over last year, one of the things that Michael's is benefiting from now in, you know, today, 2019, 2020, the information age. Like, while you have things like this, documentaries like this, like HBO, there are so many counter arguments on YouTube, and a lot of people.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not a Donald Trump fan at all, but I will say this much though: I do get some joy when he fucks with the media, because the media, even when he's wrong on how he behaves, how he treats the media, and how he responds, and all that, there is some truth to what he's saying about the media being fake news. There's truth to that. Now, when he's saying it's to his own gain, but there is some truth to what he's saying there, and I still get kind of like, you know, giddy about that when he pokes a hole at the media a little bit. Mm-hmm. And there's already distrust of the media anyway for the last 10 years. So people are now.
Well, and we being fans of Michael, we always said, you know, F the press, you know, because of just from how they treated him. And, you know, the good thing is, like you're saying, the internet's out there now, so people can actually look up the other, quote, other side, or try and, you know, do their own research. If they just research for 10 minutes. People are
already skeptical of the media anyway, whether it's right or wrong. Yeah. So they're going to always look for, okay, you know, people who are willing to go the extra mile and, you know, do the research and investigate. Well, let's see. Because it wasn't, that was their mistake. And that was Dan Reed's mistake in the documentary. Because I saw the R. Kelly documentary also before that, 2 months before that. And the R. Kelly documentary.
Dan Reed would have looked into anything. He would have been like,
right.
Oh my God.
The R. Kelly documentary was actually more balanced than Leaving Neverland.
Yeah.
If you can believe that.
like, I can't believe that between Wade and James and Dan, they did not think that the fan base would at least do all this research. Like, it wasn't hard for the fans to debunk 50% of that documentary just by the next day, I felt like.
Well, they were relying on people
like,
to...
what did they think?
They're relying on manipulation, and I've said this for years, media manipulation. You know, when you put certain music, certain...
right.
You know, it felt manipulative. My buddy Mark, who comes on this podcast all the time, he said, straight up, I don't believe them. And I go, why? He goes, because it looks too one-sided, number one, and it feels manipulative. There's no counterpoint. There's no counter-arguments. And then...
Yeah, right.
You know, and then... I'll tell you, MJ fans are amazing because they are so engaged with his career and so engaged with the little things.
Man,
it's come to pass. It's been a benefit for his legacy now, 10 years later, because you know when they accuse Michael's original lawyer Mark Garagos of being insensitive to the situation in his press conference, that had nothing to do with the charges. That had to do with the airline.
The airplane recording the conversation
going to the tarmac.
God, see, that's the stuff that makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Like, stuff that makes me so
what else
mad.
are you hiding?
And like, I don't even want to explain it to people because I don't care. No, not I don't care. They don't care. People don't care.
Well, what I do on the internet is if people are willing to at least get information, I'll give it to them. Otherwise, I'll just troll the shit out of them and make them shit.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, let's change gears quick before we go. Last thing. You got really giddy when I was talking about things I want to talk about on the show. Obviously, we want to talk about The Office. So I told you last year that I started watching it for the first time from start to finish. Like I watched episodes here and there through the years, but I never really watched the show in chronological order.
Yeah.
Last October, I started watching it, and then I stopped at season 2 for some reason. I don't know why. And then I picked back up. I think was it about a month ago, about a couple weeks before the pandemic started, and I'm now on season 7. I'm enjoying the show. I'm actually a couple of friends of mine. We're gonna do a top 10 list of characters of own power ranking style of characters on the show. But you're a big fan of The Office too. Apparently, I was not aware of that until recently.
Yeah. Yeah. So I never ever watched it when it was on TV. I don't even think I tried to watch it, but 3 summers ago, so this June, June of 2017, I watched all 9 seasons in the month of June. I'm like, the whole month of June, that is all I did. And it's just it's just, oh my God, every character, every actor, everything in that show is like impeccable. And so if it's on TV, like if I'm flipping through channels and it's on TV, I just turn it on, no questions asked. When I'm at my boyfriend's house and we're like laying in bed going to sleep because we always fall asleep with the TV on, we turn on Netflix, The Office every single night.
It's background noise for you, pretty much.
We'll say it again.
It's pretty much background noise for you now. Background noise, in a sense.
Yeah, but like we'll be laying in bed about to fall asleep and we'll hear something and we'll both start like snickering. Like Dwight will say something or like we'll actually mouth the words before they say it. I mean, it's the best. I've probably watched it. I've watched it chronological order, front to back once, but I've probably seen every episode like 4 times, just different, like at different times. Oh my gosh.
That's how Scrubs was to my wife and I. That's how Scrubs was for us when we first started dating. We would watch Scrubs in the background too, like, and we'll know the line. And to this day, know the lines. Like, in fact, I don't know if you watched that show before, but like Turk and Carla. You watched Scrubs before the show? Oh no.
No.
Oh, okay, so the character, the black guy who's in Clueless, that Donald Faison, and his wife in the show. That's pretty much her and I. In a nutshell.
Oh, okay.
It's a great show, though. It's a great show. Give me your top 5 favorite characters on the show.
Oh my gosh. My top 5 characters?
Yeah, on the show.
Oh, but they're all so good in their own way.
I'm sure some annoy you, right? Do you have a worst character in the show?
The worst character? Like
who you can't stand. Like, I can't stand her. It's annoying. Like to me, that's Meredith and Kelly.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kelly, but also she's so good in that role. It's kind of like, okay, so if I was working in that office, if I was in the office working, Kelly would annoy the crap out of me. If there was somebody that I was working with that was like Kelly, I would, her, Meredith, and Angela.
So, and I'll probably on the podcast down the road once you do the rankings, but I have a soft spot for Angela. I don't know what it is. I have a soft spot for her.
Oh, and you haven't finished it yet.
No, I know. Here's the thing.
Okay, so
I started loving her going to the show, and obviously as the show's going on, and I'm 7 seasons in, it's obviously diminished, but I still have a soft spot for her. It's weird.
I actually liked her more at the end than I did. Here's the thing. I like her character. I think her character is hilarious, but if I had to work with someone like her, I would be like annoyed at her. But I like her on the show. It's hard to say because I think, oh my gosh, Dwight and Jim together cracked me up so much. And Michael Scott would be fired on day one if he ever did stuff that he does on the show. It's almost too, like, everything he does, you're like, if he did that in real life, he'd be sued for, like, sexual harassment, like, everything. But
the whole nine.
But it is so, oh my God, it's so freaking funny.
So you can't do top 5, can you? It's hard to do top 5, huh?
No, I can't. This is like naming your favorite Michael Jackson song. I can't do that.
Come on now. Isn't yours Beat It? No, I'm joking. I'm just joking.
Oh, shut up.
I'm so joking.
No, I can't. I don't think I can because I like Stanley. He's freaking hilarious.
He's my favorite one.
And
he's my favorite.
The interaction between Michael and Toby every single time. Everyone. Kevin. Oh my gosh. I can't. I can't.
Wait, you just named my favorite character in the whole show, which is Stanley.
Kevin?
No, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley? Oh, my God. He cracks me up.
Have you lost your damn mind? I'll come find it for you.
Oh, my gosh. He's so funny.
My wife loves him. Pretzel Day? Oh, my God.
What is it?
Pretzel Day. My wife loves Pretzel Day.
Oh, Pretzel Day? Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, see, I don't even know how you could...
It's hard.
I don't know.
It's
all so good.
So my friend G and Rosalind come to the show regularly, and they love The Office themselves. Once I'm done the show, because we all agreed we're gonna do a top 10, each of us in order. Of characters, yeah.
Oh my God.
That's gonna be fun. I have a list already, sort of, but it's ever changing every season though. It keeps changing.
Yeah, because people keep coming in.
Yeah. So right now, I'm at the point where Michael is about to leave. So we'll see how that goes and all that. But one of the criticisms, this last thing before I let you go, one of the criticisms about the show I've heard for years, and even recently when I started the show, was that the show takes a big dip for the worse after, say, season 4. And while I agree there is a little bit of dip, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I think the show still holds up. I just think it's so hard. And I said in my last podcast I recorded today, actually, that it's hard to sustain that kind of excellence for 9 seasons and 25-plus episodes per season. You access for a lot there.
It is hard. Imagine trying to think of a storyline, and sometimes there aren't any storylines, and that's even more funny. But I don't think. I don't think it got worse. I mean, maybe some episodes weren't as funny or I don't know, but my favorite opening that I always say is my favorite, I'm sure I like a lot more, but is the parkour one, season 6, episode 1, when Andy, Dwight, and Michael are doing parkour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Stupid.
Parkour.
And they
it's
fall
so
through
funny.
the box.
I just love and when Jim comes in dressed as Dwight, did that already happen? I don't know.
Which one is that?
At the very beginning of one of the episodes, Jim comes in and he's dressed as Dwight and he's acting like Dwight.
Yes, saw one already. That's really good.
He was so good.
And Dwight goes
so if you go on YouTube, I watched all the bloopers on YouTube the other night, literally 4 nights ago from season 1 to 9. There's bloopers galore, but there's also people who were auditioned for each character, and a lot of people who went on to become really famous now auditioned for roles on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you can't even imagine if anyone else got any of those parts. It's just mind-blowing to think if so-and-so was Jim instead of John Krasinski.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you should look that up on YouTube because...
I will, definitely.
It's funny to see all the people that auditioned for these parts and, like, they're nothing like what the character turned out to be. Yeah, whoever casting, man, they were spot on. And John Krasinski didn't even he was just like, I forget what he said he was doing before this, but he was just like working in a restaurant or something. He didn't do anything until The Office.
He's so smooth, though.
But
Jim
it was
is
like,
so smooth. He's so smooth.
Oh, man.
He's so smooth.
It's great.
I can't imagine anyone else playing that role. I mean, I can't imagine anyone else playing Stanley.
Ever.
Or Kevin.
Never.
I can't imagine it. I just can't.
Michael, are you kidding? Michael Scott?
Mm-hmm. My wife hates him. She can't stand Michael Scott.
And I can see why people would think he's annoying. I totally get it. But, like, my mom does not like that show. My mom thinks the show is not funny. She thinks it's stupid. I was like, Mom, I might disown you.
No, but she it's a... I mean, she's not that kind of comedy is one thing. I mean, it's one thing, but
right,
like,
you have to like that kind.
It's exaggerated. It's the same life exaggerated.
Right. Satire.
I can actually relate to that. You know, with my job, it's not as extreme obviously as that, but some of the things that they do, like on the lighter end of things, I can see that in my work.
Oh
my
man,
it's great.
So freaking funny.
I keep asking myself, you know, what took me so long to watch this show from start to finish? Why did I take so long?
That's what I was saying 3 years ago when I did it. I was so glad I finally did that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh
and my wife, you know, she started watching.
I can't wait till you finish it.
No, I can't wait. I'm gonna, when I go off this call, I'm gonna go downstairs and watch season 7 tonight. That's my goal. Although I gotta get early morning to do homeschooling with my son, but you know, you know, it's like I said, I think the show, you know, does it take a dip? Is there a lot of filler episodes toward the end right now? Yeah, there is, but I don't think the show tailed off in the same way that people who are critical of it.
No, I don't think so.
It still holds up really well, man. I will say this much though.
Yeah.
I don't know if that show would be as popular if it was starting today because of the now PC culture we are in now, Me Too.
Yeah.
That show pushes a lot of buttons. I didn't realize that till I was on
Oh
audition.
my God. I know. That's why, and that's why, like, that either makes it hysterical for you or annoying. You have to really.
Well, it depends where you stand on the issues. Like if you're somebody that's.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like that's why you either like it or you don't because. Man.
If you're part of woke culture, I'm saying for you.